the things that we have done over here, how has UPS reacted to it? And let's actually pause in for a second, ask the question, how has Amazon responded to this first? And then we can maybe talk about UPS.
In terms of?
All these other changes that, FedEx canceling the contracts over there, maybe USPS not doing much, but DHL maybe coming out of certain markets. How's Amazon reacting to it?
So I think Amazon is investing in their own infrastructure. They're doing this in order to have more control over their process, and especially in terms of delivery and fulfillment. But Amazon looks at it, what they refer to as their flywheel. So you have something that is a cost driver for them. They create a way to turn that into a revenue driver for them. So we've seen that in their fulfillment network, where they needed to have these massive fulfillment centers with multi-million-dollar investments to build one, that they're now using fulfillment by Amazon to subsidize. Same thing with delivery, where they were growing faster than the overall delivery market. They needed to have some sort of investment so that they could continue that growth. Now they're selling that delivery capacity to sellers on their marketplace. So I think they're going to continue to respond through investment in their own services, things that keep their ecosystem thriving, third-party seller services, fulfillment, physical infrastructure that will allow them to withstand things like FedEx ending their contract. They'll have to bring some part of that in-house, and they're creating the infrastructure necessary to be able to do that.
And can you imagine today, Amazon delivers, if you believe the press, somewhere 4.5 million of their own packages a day. Because they built substantial delivery infrastructure, they're building an airline. Because as a company that has been said, e-commerce is their lifeblood, they need a portfolio of solutions, both using third-party carriers and having in-source capability. But can you imagine if they didn't have that in-source capability, what could have they withstood FedEx canceling a contract like that?
Yeah, I mean, that was really smart of them. I think they really were a lot more forward-looking when it comes to investment.
Something else that they've recently hit the news, they made an announcement that they placed an order for 100,000 electric delivery vans that will be brought online over the next decade to really boost their delivery infrastructure. To put that into context, they currently have about 20,000. So this is going to be a huge expansion of their fleet, which will help both their delivery infrastructure, but also their commitment to green, carbon-neutral delivery, which is something that the company has made a priority. So these electric vehicles, through it's a company called Rivian, should help them reduce their carbon footprint and increase the area that they're able to cover with their own in-house delivery.
And what's interesting, they made the announcement of the vehicles as part of making an announcement of how they were going to lower their carbon emissions over the next 10 years. So they're great at marketing, they're great at combining messages like that.
Yeah. And all that requires high-end technology, and that's a space they play in also.
It's a space they play in, a space they're willing to spend money to get in. They've made, if you look over the history of investments, they're an investor in this company that's building the vehicles. They've invested in drone companies, you name it.
Warehouse robotics.
They're heavy investors in technology. Not only do they internally spend money on technology, but they actually buy technology too through investments.
Yeah. Awesome, thank you.
Vignesh, and just to give you a little bit of perspective, so Ben just mentioned 20,000 they have, 100,000 announcement in the next 10 years. The USPS has about 180,000 final mile delivery vehicles in their fleet. So that tells you that this investment is substantial.
Great, thank you. So let's talk just briefly about UPS. We've talked a lot about other folks. What are some of the things that we have done recently that you think puts us in a good competing position in the e-commerce space?
So, I mean, recently we've, so maybe not e-commerce specifically. I was going to talk about the drone Matternet thing.
Yeah, but we could talk about something e-commerce specific.
Yeah.
Any thoughts? Or we could move on. I think we don't need to focus on UPS.
We've traditionally been, particularly domestically, the leader in e-commerce. Retail's been in our blood. We've been in retail forever, but things like weekend delivery, 6-7 day, SurePost. SurePost it's not recent, but that was a leading market innovation at the time, the best postal deduction service. So we do two things on the technology side through integrations through the Ready program. So when I look at UPS and retail, we've been constantly evolving the entire time I've been here, which is 27, 28 years now, constantly making new investments in e-commerce. Now you have things like Where to Go, e-fulfillment. So we're constantly pushing out to lean in further into e-commerce. So.
Great, thank you. Thanks for that answer.
And FedEx has had to respond to a lot of our innovation. There was My Choice.
Mm-hmm.
They responded 2 years later with Delivery Manager. Our Access Point network, they responded by signing up Walgreens to have their own Access Point network that they call Hold at FedEx Location. And all these recent announcements as well. This is really in response to Dana's comment by FedEx of our expertise that we already have in e-commerce.
With that comment, almost feels like UPS is leading in certain parts of the e-commerce market, which is really great to hear. So this is more of an open-ended question. What do you guys think is the way e-commerce going to look like? And you folks are probably the closest to trends. You look at all our logistics companies. How is e-commerce going to look in 5 to 10 years? And feel free to give me the sci-fi version of it.
So Ben, why don't you speak? I think an interesting piece about what's going on is how retailers like Walmart and Target, who are definitely retailers or definitely in e-commerce, are responding to the Amazon threat. So I think that's where a lot of the interesting innovation is going to happen, is how traditional people we'd call traditional retailers, which aren't anymore, they're e-commerce companies with brick and mortar footprint, how they respond to Amazon and how Amazon responds is going to be a huge driver in e-commerce. So why don't you talk some about Walmart and Target, about some of the things those guys are doing? So.
Yeah, I think the answer to your question is, the distinction between commerce and e-commerce is going to be less important in the future. That you're really going to see the integration of online and offline sales come together in a very seamless way. So stores are going to have opportunities where you can buy online, pick up in store, have something in store, you buy in store, delivered to your house, have options where you can have delivery from store, pick up curbside, all of these things that are going to be a seamless retail experience across multiple channels, that you're not going to feel as if this is a distinct e-commerce experience and this is a distinct in-store experience. Those two things are going to be blended. And it's going to allow retailers to have the technology tools, the data tools to do things, predictive analytics, so that you know what to advertise to you in store and online, so you have a seamless experience. You're going to have the things that now where you see the ads that are following you across the web are going to be coming into the retail store as well, in a way that they are going to have a customized, tailored experience for you, so that you can shop in the way that best suits your needs as a consumer.
Yeah. Great. And even everything that you mentioned there, it had a lot to do with technology. And of course, if you look at the future, you can't ignore that. So now for a question that's a little bit of it's a different kind of competition we're going to talk about. This is the fun part of it. So I hope some of you are sci-fi fans. So which is the best sci-fi movie of all time? And I do think there is a right answer.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. So let's
Like
go there. You have an opinion, strong opinion, looks like it.
The correct answer is Star Wars: A New Hope.
Okay, all right. I'm going to second that. Okay. No sci-fi fans. Wow.
I would be going back to Star Trek. So.
Awesome. Well,
every great innovation came out of Star Trek. The particle decomposer, the phaser, all those things. Sliding doors. All of it came from Star Trek. Early innovators.
I think you just made an enemy right here. Now, thank you, Dan and team, for taking the time to talk about our competitors. Now, while we pride ourselves on being customer first, it is also necessary to have a good pulse on our competition. They can help us recognize our weaknesses, but they can also inspire us to do things better. They make sure that we don't take our customers for granted. Thanks for helping us focus on that today. Please stick around for a short survey after the Zoom meeting ends and tell